Hey guys, my name's James Dymond and welcome to this short video here on Sonic Academy about how to approach mixing drum and bass. So as you might know, historically on this site I've been doing lots of different tutorials primarily based on trance and Psy-Trance. This is what I've been doing for well over 10 years now, and I also run a studio business helping producers to work on other styles such as progressive and techno. So my kind of forte is more based around the 4 on the floor beat kind of dance music. However, recently I've really getting into drum and bass and I've started to kind of throw things together. There's a competition and the event going on on Sonic Academy right now, which I think I'm going to enter. And I was speaking to the guys over at Sonic Academy and they asked me to just put together this short video on my kind of thought process on how I go about moving from a 4 on the floor dance, trance beats and production to a drum and bass production, which hasn't been easy. There's some differences that we're going to have a look at. So I'm pretty much still a beginner with this. I would say this is maybe my 6th or 7th attempt that I finally found is sounding good. My first attempts were not great. The same with trance all those years ago when I first started making it. I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just kind of going ahead and trial and error. Very much the same with what I've been doing with my drum and bass tracks. I've been looking at some courses on Sonic Academy and some other stuff online to help me get some ideas together and trying to work out the new kind of mixing process, which is what we're going to have a look at. So the first thing that obviously is different with 4 on the floor dance, you've got a 4 on the floor kick drum, a beat drum, and with drum and bass it's more syncopated. So this is the small little project we're going to have a look at, and let's open up the mixer and I'll just show you the beat itself. So I will say that this kind of style that I'm going for is the more jump up kind of melodic drum and bass, I guess you would call it. Again, I'm not really too understandable or knowledgeable on the actual different genres itself. I know what I like and that's kind of what I've been going for. With this kind of beats, there's really not much to it. It's not very kind of heavily dense like a jungle kind of beat. It's very much just a few kind of percussion hits and a really big snare. So let's have a quick listen to that. So really simple. Let's have a look at the first section. So the kick drum, and obviously with drum and bass, like I said, we've got our kind of syncopated beat. So we've got the kick drum on the 1st 16th, and then it's the 2nd beat and it's halfway through. So as normally with 4 on the floor, we'd obviously have it like this. But we're going to be using it as this syncopated beat. And with this nice kick drum, I haven't really done anything to it. I've just added a little bit of low-end processing. Then next up, we've got some hi-hats. I'll just run through those. A nice open hi-hat. So they're very much the same as kind of 4 on the floor dance music. We've got them on the offbeat. So they get kick drum plays and then the offbeat open hi-hat is being triggered. And then we've got another close hi-hat here, which I believe is a shaker. Nope, I haven't even got that in. I think it must be this one. There we go. I was looking at the 2nd open hi-hat. That's a mistake there. So yeah, that's the closed hi-hat. And this is doing the running beats on every other 16th note. So we put those back in with the offbeat open hats. So it's starting to sound like an actual kind of drum kit coming together with the open hi-hat and the closed hi-hat with the pedal. And then we've got a loop here, which is this nice shaker loop. Then this is where we come to doing the snare drum. So for me, drum and bass really needs this big snare drum. And I've got 3 different ones layered up here, each of them with their own individual kind of character that overall create a really nice sound. Really big punchy one there. A lot lower and not as much high ends. There's a lot of snap on this first one, but this one's got much more kind of low mids to it. And then this one, as you can hear, it's got even more kind of mid-range to it as well, and a little bit of high-end snap. And then let's put those together. And for me, it's really covering all bases. So this is what I was kind of looking at. With kind of dance music or trance music, progressive, I find that really I only ever layer up one kick drum. I don't, snare. I don't really, or clap. I don't really layer them multiple up like this because I only really need that one kind of sound and vibe, and I can usually get that with one individual clap or snare. But with drum and bass, I really wanted to have it really nice and thick. If we go over to the snare bus here, so I've got all three of these being bussed to this individual channel, and let's just have a look at the processing I've got going on there. So first of all, I've got the UAD Fairchild 670 compressor, absolutely fantastic, and I've got this on a really short time constraint, so release and some nice heavy compression. So we're compressing by about 2 dB there, and I'll just turn that on and off so you can hear the difference. So we're really kind of controlling those transients and bringing them out just a little bit more, making it really kind of snappy in the top end. And it's going to be leveling off some of those low mids as well. Then I've just got some EQ. So look at this. We're really, really punching through this 196 mark. That's making a big difference to the way that it's sounding. And let's put that back in with the kick drum. So you can hear as I take this away, it's really losing a lot of that body to the actual snare itself. And this is what I found as being really important. You can really hear once we turn that 196 Hertz on, it's really bringing it out much more. And then we've got the PureTech EP1A, fantastic again. And what have we got done here? So we've got a boost at 100. So again, we're just boosting some of this low end and a tiny bit of attenuation. And then a same at 10 kilohertz just to bring out the high, a little bit of boost and some attenuation as well to just level it off. So that's just helping bring out the body a tiny bit more. And then again, we've got some more EQ, so you can see I've really gone to town here. Now, this is might be my inexperience, because what I teach in my trance and dance tutorials is that it's all about finding the best sounds to begin with. Maybe because of my experience, I haven't really found the best sounds, and I've had to work a little bit harder to get these sounding better. But that's just the way that I've done it, and it seems to work out fine. So let's just hear what this one sounds like. So again, I was focusing really on this kind of 196 range to bring it out. And again, some mid and some high end. So sounding really nice. Let's move on now to the bass lines. And in fact, let's just let you hear them. I'll do them solo first, and then we'll put them in with the kick and the snare. So really just kind of standard 16th running notes here. Nothing too crazy like you might hear in some other kind of heavier drum bass. Again, the track, which I'll show you at the end, it's much more of a melodic sounding one. It's got vocals, lots of guitars that you might have just heard there. So we wanted to kind of keep it very simple in the bass line. We didn't need to overdo it. So we made a decision that because we've got lots of guitar parts and lots of other sounds going on, we wanted to keep the bass line quite simple. So we've got two different bass lines here. And that's really all there is to it. And then we've just got a nice sub pattern going on here, which is exactly the same as the bass line. Now what I've done with these, which is a little bit different to Four on the Floor, especially with trance, I don't normally do this, is I've actually side-chained the bass lines and the sub to the kick drum itself. So I have a compressor, the TDR Molotov, fantastic free compressor, absolutely recommend this. I've got this side chained to the kick drum itself. So if I press play, we can see every time the kick drum plays, the sub and the bass lines, the compressor is being triggered, and it's allowing that kick drum to come through more. I really wanted the kick to be nice and punchy and not have the sub bass and the bass lines kind of getting in the way of that. You might notice as well I've got some sidechain going on with the LFO tool just to give it a little bit more bounce. But then with the the gain reduction here on the compressor really helps to just let that kick shine through a little bit more. So I'll turn that on and off so you can hear. So we can hear that that's actually helping that kick drum fit a little bit better. Maybe it was clashing just very slightly with the kick drum. So it's just helping that kick drum come through more. And it's not a lot of compression, you know, it was only 2 dB. And then on the bass lines, we've just got the exact same. So they're going to a bus of themselves with a little bit of compression. Let's just have a listen to that. Very small amount of compression just to keep it level, and then we got some kind of brightness and enhancements going on there, and a nice low cut to make sure that we're not bleeding over to the sub frequencies itself. Then from there, we're normally in my kind of dance and trance tutorials, so this is one of the other big differences. I've got the kick drum going to the percussion bus, and instead in trance and kind of progressive and techno, I would normally have the kick and the bass all going to this individual bus here, but I've actually got it going to the percussion bus, and we'll come back to that in a second. So let's just have a listen. So I can now solo just my kick and well, it's named kick and bass. That shouldn't be. That should just be bass and guitars, and that's just the way I have it named, because this is a kind of channel setup that I've used from my trance productions, and I've just tweaked it to see how it would sound with drum and bass. So it's very much the same kind of process. These are all kind of doing their own individual things. So I've got some nice saturation going on through Saturn. Just kind of brings out the high and the low a little bit. We've got some console emulation through the virtual mix bus, and then we've got a compressor just to make sure that the bass lines are really kind of as solid as they are. They're not kind of moving too much. Again, like I said, I wanted this to be not about the bass lines. I want it to be more about the actual kind of melodic parts itself. So we can just see there that it's catching some of those kind of higher peaking frequencies. And then we've got some EQ with the API 560. Love this plugin. So again, it's just adding a little bit more kind of bass and kind of higher mids to it, sounding really good. So then let's go ahead and look at the percussion bus. And again, I'm using the Fairchild here. And we can see we've got quite a bit of compression going on, but what I didn't want to do, and this is what maybe you tell me if I'm doing this wrong, I wanted to have a very short time constraint, so a very short release, to make sure that it's not always compressing when the kick drum plays. I think I got it about right. Let's turn it on and off. And that to me is just feeling like it's bringing everything together that little bit extra. It's really kind of pulling out the snappiness of the kick and the snare, and just helping everything to sit together a little bit better. And then we've just got some more EQ at the end here, just a little bit on the low end, tiny bit on the high. Again, it's just brightening things up. So kind of the same process as what I do with kind of dance music and trance that I've shown in other tutorials on the site. Little changes over a long process kind of creates this nicer way, this more clean sounds that we're looking for. And if I just turn all of the percussion bus processing on and off, yeah, we can really hear that that's kind of bringing out the snare and the kick and the brightness of it. Fantastic compressor, this, absolutely love it. So let's go ahead and put everything back in. Let's have one more quick listen, and then I'll just very briefly show you the guitars that I've been doing, just to kind of give you a bit of an idea of the style that we're going for. Really, really, really cool guitars. So this is not really kind of part of the program or the kind of tutorial, but I just wanted to quickly show you so you got a kind of idea that this is how heavy guitar based this track is. So this is my good friend Nick Mason, who I'm working on the track with, and he's done the vocals as well. We tracked maybe 12, 15 different guitar parts, and we've got a couple going on here. So we've got guitar left with just a BC3 amp. I'll turn that off. Just a very standard guitar sound. Now it's nice and grungy. Same with the right. So these are actually two different recordings themselves, because we didn't want any kind of phasing or anything like that. We wanted to make sure it sounded as organic as possible. Then later on in the week, Nick went back to his and he recorded these, and you can see they're obviously processed a lot more. But what I quite liked is they just added that little bit extra crunch to it, and he's got a lot better distortion plugins as he's a guitar player himself, and I do not have those. So then we got the left and the right. And he's used two different distortions there as well, which gives this really, really nice effect. And then add them back in. Sounding really nice. We've got some compression going on here in the mids. In the low mids, we really wanted to compress that down. So the reason that his looks a lot flatter is because he's done all of his compression already. We've done it in the project here. And then we got some EQ and reverb. And then this is actually being sent to the kick and bass bus. So if I turn all the kick and bass bus on. I say the kick and bass bus, it's not the kick and bass bus, it's the bass bus. This is just the way that I've got it set up, and I keep forgetting that. So let's turn the kick back on. So I personally think that's sounding really nice so far, and so you can turn this into this. And there we go. What do you think? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. I'd love to hear what your opinions are. Have I done the right thing here? Have you got any other ideas of what we could do? Really, I'm open to suggestions. This is what I love about music, is learning and understanding what other people's thoughts are. I'm going to try and enter the competition. Hopefully I'll have time, and good luck to everyone as well. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.